I remember the first time I saw the thirsting plains. At the time, I thought it was just a stretch of desolate grassland, wide enough to blot out the horizon, a place no sane person would want to linger in for more than a day. The sun was a sickly yellow that morning, casting the land in a jaundiced light, and the wind carried a scent that wasn't entirely earth or plant. It had a metallic tang, like old blood left to rot in the sun. I had been chasing a story, as I always did, some wild legend of a place that could make men vanish without a trace. I told myself I was prepared, but no preparation can guard against a land that drinks like this. The first clue should have been the ground itself. At a distance, the grasses swayed as though teasing the air, innocent, golden waves. But as I stepped closer, the soil beneath my boots felt unnervingly soft, almost slick, and a faint, sticky warmth clung to the soles of my shoes. I didn't notice it immediately, too wrapped up in the way the plains seemed to stretch endlessly. But then, when I accidentally scraped my hand on a jagged stone, I saw it. Tiny crimson streaks sinking into the soil like the earth had waited for that drop. I thought it was dirt at first, then realized the stone had nicked me just enough to draw blood. And the soil drank it, as if it had been starving. I remember laughing nervously. "Good God," I muttered. "I've got to be imagining this." But the earth made a sound. A soft, sucking slurp that twisted something deep inside me. It was the kind of sound that belongs in a nightmare, the quiet hunger of something alive beneath the surface. And when I lifted my hand, the cut had vanished. Not healed, not sealed. Vanished. Only a faint trace of warmth where the blood had touched the soil. That was the moment I realized the thirsting plains were not just a name. They were a warning. I camped that first night at the edge, where the grasses thinned into cracked dirt and jagged stones. The wind was restless, circling me with a soft moan, and I couldn't shake the feeling that something moved below. Each time I closed my eyes, I imagined the ground quivering, reaching. My dreams were filled with whispers. Not words, just breathless sibilance, like the plains were speaking in a language that my mind refused to translate. I woke to find the earth had shifted near my tent, little hollows where no stone or root had been. My equipment had sunk slightly into the soil, the impression of my presence consumed overnight. I told myself it was the wind. I told myself anything to avoid thinking what I truly feared, that the plains remembered and collected, and that I, too, had begun to feed it. The next day I wandered further, drawn by a curiosity I now recognize as foolish pride. The grass grew taller, tangled like wild hair, and each step seemed to weigh heavier than the last. I noticed subtle changes. Footprints I hadn't left were smeared into the soil, tiny depressions that suggested someone, or something, had walked alongside me. I called out, expecting to startle a lost traveler, but no reply came. The only answer was a soft, sucking sound, as if the ground itself were swallowing every echo of my voice. I stumbled upon a pool, a dark mirror of water cradled in a natural basin. It should have been welcome relief, but the surface shimmered unnaturally. I knelt to drink, only to see ripples move against the wind. Something beneath shifted, breaking the reflection of my face into 1,000 distorted shards. And in that moment, I understood. The plains took more than blood. Took attention, thought, even the edges of one's mind. I felt dizzy, my grip on reality fraying, and I staggered backward. My vision blurred, a red haze crawling across the periphery of my sight, the world tilting like a ship caught in a storm. I had read about hallucinations in extreme conditions, but nothing had prepared me for this. The plains were alive and they were hungry. The nights became worse. Sleep was not restful, but a slow bleeding of my own vitality into the earth. I dreamed of crawling vines that penetrated skin, of roots twisting inside my chest, seeking the warm pulse beneath my ribs. I awoke drenched in sweat, shivering despite the mild temperature. And every morning, no matter how far I walked, I found the soil had crept closer to my tent. Tracks I had thought were mine alone seemed to follow in patterns that made no sense, looping back impossibly. And once, I was certain I saw my own shadow standing upright while I lay down, staring at me with a grin that wasn't mine. Hunger came next, not for food, but for water. The air was thick with a dryness that seemed to suck moisture from my mouth and eyes. Every time I tried to drink from the small streams I found, the water fizzed or blackened before it touched my lips, and every drop I spilled, even accidentally, disappeared into the soil with a soft, almost joyful sound. I began to understand that the land did not simply feed on blood. It thrived on loss, on depletion of life in all its forms, liquid and spirit alike. I started leaving marks, tiny scratches in the dirt to map my path, a crude attempt at proof of where I had been. But they never lasted. The next day, they were gone, smoothed over as though I had never touched the soil. My sense of time started to warp. I could swear I had walked for hours without leaving a single landmark, and yet, when I pressed north, I seemed to find the same cluster of blackened stones I had passed the day before. The land was rewriting itself, or perhaps rewriting me. I stopped trusting my eyes entirely, relying instead on the compass I had brought. But even that betrayed me when the needle trembled violently in certain stretches, pointing every which way before settling on the same direction I had been fleeing. And then the first scream came. It was distant, somewhere beyond the horizon, but it carried over the plains as if the wind itself had learned to mimic agony. I froze. Something inside me wanted to run, and yet another part, perverse and foolish, wanted to go toward it. I could not tell which part was stronger. I moved cautiously, the grass hissing at my knees, whispering secrets I could not understand. The scream became more defined, human, ragged, soaked in despair. And then it stopped, just like that. Silence, thick and oppressive, pressing against my eardrums with the weight of wet earth. I found the body not far from the pool, or at least what remained. It was stripped of blood, skin pallid and oddly elastic, almost as though it had been pulled into the soil. The ground around it was slick and dark, wet in patches that shimmered in the sunlight. I gagged, stepping back, but the earth seemed to shift beneath me, impatient for its own sacrifice. My stomach turned, yet I could not look away. There was a fascination, a compulsion, as if the land had reached inside me and planted a seed of obsession. My hands itched to touch, to see if it would take me too. That night, I lay awake, shivering under a thin blanket, staring at the dark outlines of the grass as they writhed in the moonlight. The land whispered. I knew it wasn't the wind. I felt it in my bones, a low, insistent pull, a hunger calling me to crawl into it, to offer myself as tribute. I imagined the soil opening, embracing me, letting me vanish like the others. And for the first time, a part of me wanted to go. I do not know how long I have been here. Days, weeks, perhaps more. Time fractures on the thirsting plains. Each step I take feels heavier, the air thicker, as if the land is feeding on me even as I walk. My body has grown thin, my skin pale, and yet my mind is sharper, more aware of the subtle signs. The way the grass bends to show the path ahead, the rhythm of the wind carrying messages, the faint tremors beneath my feet that signal the earth's moods. I have begun to speak to it sometimes, softly, almost reverently, not out of belief but because it listens, and it answers in ways subtle and terrifying. I am writing this because I must record it, even if only in fragments. I fear that one day, I will not exist beyond these words. The thirsting plains are patient. They do not need force. They wait and they take. I have seen others, shadows in the distance, their outlines blurred, half absorbed into the soil. And I know that, like them, I am slowly fading, my essence sinking into the hungry ground with each breath. Yet, even as I feel the slow drain, part of me cannot leave. I do not know if I am brave or foolish. Perhaps it does not matter. The thirsting plains are eternal, and I am part of their story now, whether I want to be or not. The wind rises again. I can hear it whispering my name, coaxing me to step further, to give a little more. And I know that if I resist too long, it will take anyway. I have already spilled enough of myself to tempt it. I can feel it in my veins, pulling, draining, enticing. I do not know if I will survive another day, but I will write. And if these words reach anyone, know this. The thirsting plains are alive, and they hunger. Everything spilled upon them is consumed. Everything lost becomes theirs. And eventually, so will you. I woke to the wind screaming like a chorus of desperate voices. It wasn't morning yet, the sky still bruised and dim, but the plains were alive in ways I could feel in my marrow. Something had changed overnight. The grass no longer bent politely to the wind. It writhed, twisted like snakes, and the soil pulsed faintly beneath my boots. I should have run. I should have turned my back on this place and fled until my lungs burned. But the thirsting plains had made a pact with my curiosity, my vanity, the foolish part of me that thought it could outwit a land that devoured life itself. I walked, and the more I walked, the more I realized that the land was watching, studying. It knew I was not entirely prepared. My skin prickled not from cold or heat, but from awareness, as though invisible eyes were tracing every vein, every heartbeat. I tried speaking aloud to calm myself. It's just grass. It's just soil. But the words felt thin, inadequate. Somewhere deep in the soil, a pulse returned my words with something else. Something darker. Something that promised to learn me, to take me apart in ways that did not hurt yet felt like suffocation. By midday, I stumbled upon another body, or what was left. This one was a man, or perhaps it had been one, though the soil had drunk most of him. Only skeletal fragments remained above the surface, some faint shards of bone protruding, as if the earth was showing me the skeleton of its meal before finishing it. My stomach churned, but I could not look away. There was a fascination here I could not resist, a sick insistence that demanded my attention. I knelt beside the remains and touched the soil with a finger, hesitating. The earth reacted immediately, shivering under my touch, and I drew back with a strangled gasp. It was then I noticed the markings. Tiny symbols pressed into the dirt, almost invisible unless one was close. They were circular, looping, grotesque in their symmetry, and they hummed faintly against my fingertips. The hum was not mechanical. It was alive. A slow, throbbing rhythm like a heartbeat, but wrong. Not human. Not animal. It matched the trembling underfoot and seemed to pull the blood in my veins along with it. My hand trembled as I withdrew. The thirsting plains were sending me a message, or perhaps a warning. I decided to rest, though sleep had become impossible. I dug a shallow pit and lay there, letting the grass brush my face. At first, it was comforting, the cool tips caressing my skin. Then I realized it was not comforting. It was absorbing. Every twitch of a muscle, every drop of sweat, every particle of heat was drawn down into the soil. I sat up sharply, heart hammering. It had been feeding on me all this time, silently, patiently, like a predator disguised as the most mundane thing imaginable. I wanted to scream, but the land had learned my voice. It had taken that too. My words came out muffled, swallowed by the plain. Night fell slowly, dragging its darkness across the horizon like a wet cloth. The wind carried scents that made my stomach lurch. Iron, rot, decay, and something else I could not name. I began to hear whispers again, but now they were intelligible, though garbled, as if my mind were only partially translating them. Come, join, feed, rest. The words were seductive, insistent, and when I pressed my hands to my ears, the whispering seemed to seep through my skull. The thirsting plains were talking directly to my mind. I wondered how long it would take before it pulled me under entirely, reduced me to nothing more than a memory it could play back for its own amusement. Sleep was impossible. I wandered in a daze, following the contours of the land as if it were guiding me. The pool from before appeared again, impossibly, though I knew I had walked miles since I last saw it. The reflection in its black waters was wrong, or perhaps I was wrong. My face appeared, yes, but stretched in angles that should not exist. My eyes were deeper, my skin paler, veins crawling like tiny rivers beneath it. And yet the reflection smiled, a cruel grin I did not recognize as mine. I reached out to touch the water. The surface rippled violently, forming shapes that slithered and writhed, faces, hands, twisted bodies pressed up as though trapped beneath. I jerked back, But I could hear their whispers too. They were not voices, exactly. They were pulses, little bursts of sensation and thought, fragments of minds already taken. The plains were showing me what awaited me if I lingered, yet I could not look away. The lure was magnetic, inexorable, and a part of me wanted to sink my hands into that liquid black and feel it swallow me whole. Days blurred into nights, and I cannot tell how many I have been wandering. Hunger gnaws at me constantly, though not in the ordinary sense. Food and water have lost all meaning here. The thirsting plains feed on far more than the corporeal. Each step drains something vital from my body, my mind, even my memories. I sometimes forget the faces of those I knew, the sound of a friend's laughter, the warmth of a room. They fade as though the land is pulling them out of me, strand by strand, leaving me lighter, emptier, closer to vanishing. At one point, I thought I saw movement ahead, a figure, hunched, crawling through the grass. My heart leapt, hope flaring, but as I drew near, the figure dissolved into the air. Not walking, not running, simply ceasing to exist, leaving only a faint trace of warmth on the soil. The plains claimed it, erased it, and when I stepped forward to examine, the ground had returned to its smooth, hungry calm. The thirsting plains do not merely take. They rewrite reality, reshaping memory and perception so that none can escape what has been. Swallowed, I began to hear it in my bones. Not whispers, but a low hum, a vibration that rose and fell with my pulse. Sometimes I felt it directly in my chest, a tugging sensation, as though my heart were being evaluated for suitability. My hands shook constantly. I could not eat, I could not drink. Even the smallest wound, a cut or scratch, vanished as if the earth rejected my blood, drawing it instead into its ravenous belly. I had become a living offering, and I knew, with a terrifying clarity, that I was beginning to enjoy it, or perhaps that was the plains doing, a manipulation of mind and spirit, an addiction forming so that I could not leave even if I wanted to. The more I resist, the more it calls. The wind carries the voices, the soil pulses beneath my feet, the grasses twist to form shapes I cannot ignore. My own reflection, in water or in the mirror of my own eyes, begins to look alien, as though the plains are reshaping me even now. I dream of being folded into the soil, of my bones turning to dust, of my essence feeding something enormous and patient beneath the world. And yet a part of me resists, desperate to cling to the tiniest fragment of my own identity, the sliver of self that has not yet been claimed. But the resistance is weakening. Last night I heard screaming again. Not distant this time, close, too close. I ran toward it, though I know running is meaningless here. The ground itself moves subtly, adjusting, coaxing, and I found myself walking in circles. The screams grew louder, overlapping, as though the plains had gathered hundreds, perhaps thousands of voices, all trapped beneath a thin layer of soil and grass. And I realized with horror that one of them was mine. A future echo, a premonition, a warning of what would happen if I lingered. The thirsting plains do not simply consume, they anticipate. They reach forward through time, measuring and claiming before their prey even comprehends the danger. I stumbled into the pool again, drawn by the reflection. This time I dared to speak aloud. "Why?" I whispered. "Why me? Why now?" The ripples answered with shapes. Faces, hands, figures of those already claimed, each one twisting and laughing silently. And then, impossibly, my own reflection shifted, the mouth opening in a silent scream that I felt in my chest. The plains had learned my voice. They had learned my fear. I do not know how much longer I can write. Each word, each sentence, feels like it leaves a mark in the soil, a breadcrumb trail for the thirsting plains to follow. My hand trembles over the paper. My mind teeters on the edge of comprehension. There is a hunger here, deeper than any I have known, and it is patient. It waits. I can feel it tugging at the edges of my consciousness, promising release, promising peace, promising oblivion. I fear that one day soon, I will look up, and the world as I know it will have disappeared. Only the plains will remain, vast and eternal, and I will be nothing but another whisper in the wind, another echo in the soil, another memory feeding the hunger. But for now I write. For now I exist. For now I resist. I do not know how long I've been walking. Time has lost all meaning, fractured like the cracked earth beneath my feet. The sun rises and sets without warning, and the darkness between them feels eternal, like a slow drowning. The ground moves beneath me now, not in waves, but subtly, as if the earth is shifting in tiny increments, tugging at my legs with every step. It's getting harder to walk. The air is thicker, and with every breath I take, the plains seem to breathe with me, drawing the very essence of life from my lungs. I feel it most in my chest now, an ache, a suffocating weight. I can feel myself changing. I thought I was already dead the moment I set foot here, but now I know it for certain. I am no longer just a visitor, no longer a wanderer. I have become part of the plains, just as the wind, the grasses, the soil. It consumes everything I was and replaces it with something else, something that belongs to it. My body is lighter, hollow, and I feel the earth shifting inside me. I am no longer sure if my thoughts are truly my own or if they have been taken, plucked out one by the endless hunger of the land. At times, I catch glimpses of myself in the dark pools that seem to appear and vanish without reason. My reflection is no longer my own. It is a twisted version, eyes hollow and skin stretched too thin, mouth curved into a grin I never made. Sometimes, I see other faces in the water, faces of those who came before me. I try to scream, but my voice has become a whisper, a sound swallowed by the soil. I can feel the plains laughing beneath me, and I realize that I, too, am becoming a part of it, lost in its endless hunger. I remember the man I once was, the one who arrived here, full of purpose, full of stories to chase, the one who thought he could outrun anything, outlast anything. But the plains do not bend. They do not break. They wait, patient as a predator stalking its prey. And now I am the prey. I came across a tree today, or at least what used to be a tree. The trunk was twisted and gnarled, with long roots that snaked into the soil like veins in a rotting carcass. There was no life left in it, no leaves, only a strange black resin oozing from the cracks in the bark. I thought it was a tree, but now I am not so sure. It looked more like a marker, like a warning, like something that had been there before me. The black resin was thick and slick, and when I touched it, my skin tingled, the sensation spreading up my arm. I pulled away, but not before a memory flashed, one I didn't recognize. A voice whispering, "Don't touch it. Don't let it take you." I shook my head, trying to clear it, but the voice was familiar, and it came again, this time louder, more urgent. "You're not the first. You won't be the last." I turned away, but the resin stuck to my fingers, a dark stain that wouldn't come off no matter how hard I scrubbed. It burned now, not physically, but deep inside me, as though it was rooting itself into my very being. And that was when I understood. The plains do not simply consume flesh. They consume memory, consciousness, identity. They strip you down and rewrite you, erasing everything you were until all that's left is an empty vessel, ready to be absorbed. I can feel it now, inside me, this hunger. I want to feed it. I want to give in, to let the earth swallow me whole. But I resist. I know I have to resist. Cannot let it take me completely. Not yet. I don't know if I have been here for weeks or months, perhaps even years. The land shifts in ways I can no longer comprehend. I walk in circles, I walk in straight lines, but it always leads me back to the same place. I can hear the whispers again, growing louder, insistent, clawing at the edges of my mind. "Come," they say. "Come closer. Join us." I want to run. I should run. But I know it's pointless. There is no escaping this place. It will follow you, draw you back, consume you, piece by piece. And every step I take, I feel myself slipping further away from the man I once was. I no longer recognize myself. I've seen others now, or at least I think I have. They appear in the distance, shapes moving through the long grasses, figures that look like people but feel wrong, twisted by the land. They never speak, only move in silence, and when I get too close, they vanish, like smoke dissolving in the wind. I wonder if they are real, or if they are just fragments of my mind, memories of those who came before me. The first time I saw them, I followed one of the figures, desperate to make contact, to understand if there was anyone else still alive out here. But the closer I got, the more distorted they became, their outlines bending and warping as though they were not part of this world at all. I called out, but my voice was lost in the wind, and the figure disappeared into the earth. I stopped looking for them. I don't know if I am looking for anyone anymore. Maybe it's better this way, to just fade away into the land, to let it consume me like it has consumed so many before. The thirst comes now sharper than before. Not for water, not for food, but for something deeper, something that gnaws at my soul. I can feel it inside me, a hollow ache that cannot be sated. The earth beckons me closer, calling me to lie down, to surrender, to become part of it. The wind is colder now, carrying the scent of blood, of rot, of death. I hear the whispers in my ear, soft and sweet, telling me to rest, to give up the fight. But I cannot. Not yet. I know what will happen if I do. If I lie down and let the plains take me completely, I will vanish. I will be swallowed whole, just another forgotten memory in the soil. There will be nothing left of me. No trace, no story, no life. I have to hold on. But I don't know how much longer I can. Every day, the earth pulls more from me. My mind slips further away, my body weaker, my thoughts more fragmented. I can feel myself becoming part of the land. I can feel the pulse beneath my feet, the hunger in the soil, the call to give in. The temptation is strong, stronger than anything I've ever known. But even now, even as I lose myself, a small part of me fights back, clinging to what little is left. I write because it's the only thing I can do, the only way to hold on to something that's still mine. But I feel it slipping, feel it fading. And the more I write, the more I wonder if anyone will ever read this, if anyone will ever know what happened to me. I write because I cannot stop, because the land demands it, and because in some twisted way I still want to be heard. I don't know if I'll make it through the night. I don't know if I'll wake up in the morning, or if the land will claim me completely. But I know one thing for certain: the thirsting plains are patient. They will wait. They will take what they want piece by piece, until there is nothing left. And I am running out of pieces. I can't feel my fingers anymore. Not in the way I used to, anyway. The sensation has been slowly draining away, like my body itself is slipping further into the earth. I can still move them, still see them, but it's as if they belong to someone else. Someone far away, someone who is no longer here. My legs are worse. Each step is heavier than the last, the earth tugging at my feet, eager to claim me. I try to walk, but the land holds me back, pulling, teasing, as if it's in no hurry. It knows I'm already lost. I thought I'd gotten used to the hunger, but this is different. There's an ache in my chest now, a gnawing void that nothing will fill. Not food, not water, not sleep. It's the land, I know that much. The thirsting plains have taken something from me that I don't even have a name for, something deep inside that makes me me. It's as if the plains have scraped it out, piece by piece, until there is nothing left but the shell of a man, moving through the grass, slowly fading. I walked until the sun was gone, until the world around me was swallowed by darkness. The wind had stopped howling hours ago, and now the only sound was the whisper of the grass beneath my feet, the faint sucking noise of the earth drinking my life, one drop at a time. I keep expecting to hear my own voice, to call out and hear it echo back. But there's nothing but the whispers. I stopped at a pool of water. It appeared out of nowhere, like it always does. One moment there's nothing, the next, a dark patch of liquid, black as ink, stretching out before me. I've tried to drink from it before. I've tried many things in my search for relief, but the water always changes, twisting into something else the moment I touch it. The reflection never looks the same. It's always shifting, distorting, showing me faces that aren't mine, or showing no face at all, only a hollow, endless void. The pool doesn't just mirror the outside world. It feeds on it, bending reality to suit its hunger. Tonight, I don't touch the water. Instead, I sit beside it, staring into the black depths. My reflection comes into focus, though it isn't quite right. There's something in my eyes that shouldn't be there. Something that's been growing in the silence, in the stillness, something I can't explain. It's the hunger, I realize. I see it now, creeping across my reflection like an illness, like a shadow that moves when it shouldn't. And that's when I hear it. A soft, laughing sound, carried on the wind. Not from the pool, but from behind me, from the depths of the grass. It's not a human laugh, not even close. It's something darker, something ancient. A sound that speaks of hunger so deep that it could consume worlds. My heart races, and for the first time in what feels like ages, I want to run. I want to turn and flee, but I know it's useless. The plains have no borders. They have no edges. No matter which direction I go, I will end up back here in the same spot, the same point in time. I am caught and there is no escape. The laughter grows louder, and I stand up, turning toward it. The grass parts before me, as if the land itself is making a path, guiding me to where I need to go. And I follow, step by reluctant step, until I find the figure standing in the field ahead of me. It's a woman, or at least it looks like a woman. But even from here, I can tell something is wrong. Her skin is pale, stretched too tightly over her bones, and her hair, if you can even call it hair, is long and tangled, twisted like roots. Her eyes are black holes, empty sockets that seem to suck in the light, and her smile is wrong, stretching too wide, too jagged. She doesn't speak at first. She just stands there, her head tilted as if she's studying me, evaluating me. And then she steps forward, the ground beneath her feet rippling like water. She moves with a grace that's almost graceful, but there's something about the way her body bends, like she isn't quite human anymore, like she's been remade by the plains, twisted into something new, something that belongs here, not out there. When she speaks, her voice is a chorus of whispers, overlapping and indistinct, like thousands of voices all trying to speak at once. "You've been here longer than you think?" she says, the words sliding into my mind like liquid. "Longer than you realize." I open my mouth to respond, but nothing comes out. My tongue feels thick, sluggish, as if it's been coated in the same dark resin that drips from the trees. "You're already one of us," she continues, her smile widening. "You've given so much already, and yet, you still have so much to offer." I try to move, to take a step back, but my body won't obey. I'm rooted to the spot, my legs shaking, my heart pounding, but no matter how hard I fight, I can't break free. The woman steps closer, her presence overwhelming, suffocating. The ground beneath her seems to pulse, throb, like it's alive. "The plains remember," she whispers, her voice sliding into my mind, drowning out everything else. "They remember everything, every scream, every drop of blood, every breath you've taken. And soon you will become part of that memory." The air grows thick, heavier, and I can feel the hunger now. It is all around me, seeping into my skin, into my bones. The earth is calling to me, inviting me to sink into it, to vanish completely. My thoughts begin to scatter, fluttering like leaves in the wind, and I can hear it. My voice, screaming, begging for release, but I can't move, I can't breathe, I can't escape. I look into the woman's eyes, and I see it now, the reflection of myself, broken and distorted, just as I feared. It's not me anymore. It's something else, something that no longer belongs to this world. I am no longer part of the world I came from. I am part of this place, part of the land that feeds, part of the hunger that never ends. Her laughter fills my mind, and I feel myself slipping, fading. The plains have already taken me, piece by piece, and now it's time for the last part to fall. My body no longer feels like my own. My thoughts are no longer mine. And in that moment, I realize something that I should have known long ago. The thirsting plains do not just consume life. They consume existence. The plains will take everything. Everything you were, everything you could have been, and leave nothing behind but whispers and shadows. I am already gone. I feel it now. The final thread, the last sliver of myself, is slipping away, like sand in an endless desert wind. I can't remember what it felt like to be human anymore. I try, but the memories slip through my fingers, vanishing into the blackened soil, sinking into the earth where they will be forgotten, devoured, and erased. The plains are rewriting me, changing me into something I don't recognize, something that isn't even alive in the way I used to understand. I don't know how much longer I've been here. Time no longer holds any meaning. The sun no longer rises or sets. The wind doesn't speak in the same way it once did. It whispers, yes, but the words are garbled now, like they're being spoken from beneath layers of earth, buried, smothered. I am smothered. The hunger is too much. It gnaws at the edges of my mind, pulls at the marrow of my bones, and I can feel the land pulling me into its depths, its hunger growing sharper with each passing moment. I can't escape. I've tried. God help me, I've tried. But there is no escape. No matter how far I walk, no matter how many directions I flee, I always end up back at the same place, the same patch of ground. The thirsting plains stretch on, infinite, and I am its prey, its meal. I am nothing now but a piece of its endless feast. And yet, I still remember. I still feel the echoes of what I was. I remember my name, or at least I think I do. I remember something that once made me human, and I cling to that, even as the plains try to pull it away from me. I don't know if it will last much longer, this fragment of self, but it's all I have left, and so I hold on to it with all the strength I can muster. But even as I hold on, I know that I am slipping. The woman, she is always there now, in the corner of my vision, in the whispers of the wind. She does not speak to me directly anymore. There is no need. She does not need to. The plains have taken her too, and now she is part of it, part of the hunger that calls to me. She is the land now, a voice in the soil, in the air, in the very ground beneath my feet. Sometimes I hear her laugh, distant but close, soft and mocking. "It's too late," she whispers, her voice an echo in my skull. "You are already one of us." The grass bends toward me now, curling around my legs like fingers, urging me forward. It doesn't hurt. No, it's not pain I feel. It's something more insidious, more suffocating. The earth cradles me like a lover, drawing me closer, urging me to give in. I could lie down. I could just lie down, let it take me completely, and there would be nothing left. No more thoughts, no more pain. Just nothing. But I can't. Not yet. I won't. I keep walking, though it's becoming harder. My legs are weak now, my body thinner, as if the plains have already taken more than I realize. I wonder if I am still bleeding, if my blood still exists, or if it, too, has been consumed, absorbed into the soil, leaving only the hollow shell of who I was. I see another figure ahead of me. The wind is still, the grass motionless, and there is a strange heaviness in the air. The figure stands in the distance, silent, unmoving, watching me with empty eyes. For a moment, I wonder if it is just another trick of the mind, another hallucination, but as I approach, I realize with horror that it is real. It is me, not the man I am now, not the shell I have become, but the man I was, the one who arrived here, full of purpose, full of life. I see the shape of myself standing there, untouched by the plains, untouched by the hunger. His face is familiar, but the look in his eyes, there is no recognition. No worms. He does not see me. He does not know me. For a moment, I want to call out to him, to warn him, to tell him to turn back, to leave before it's too late. But the words catch in my throat. They are gone now, lost to the earth. All that remains is the hunger. I feel it in my bones, in my blood. The land has already claimed me, and it is calling to him, too. I stop, cannot move. The figure is still there, standing at the edge of the horizon, as if waiting for me to join it. I feel the earth pulling at my feet, urging me forward. There is no escape. There is nowhere to go. The plains will consume everything, everyone, and I will be a part of it, a piece of it, until nothing remains but shadows and whispers. I can hear it now. The wind, the earth, the grass, they are all calling to me. Join us. I should have known this would happen. I should have known that the plains would take me completely, that it would strip me down and remake me, piece by piece, until there was nothing left but a memory of a man who once lived. But I couldn't see it then. I couldn't see what was happening to me. I thought I could outrun it, that I could resist. But resistance is futile here. The thirsting plains do not just take the body. They take the soul. And now I understand. The earth is alive. It remembers. It is not just a place. It is a being, a consciousness, a creature that feeds on time itself. It consumes the past, the present, the future, until nothing is left but the endless hunger. And I am just another drop in its eternal thirst. I wonder what happens when it has taken everything, when it has consumed all that is left. Will it just wait forever until the next fool stumbles in, lost and desperate, just as I was? Or will it stop, will it end, when there is nothing left to consume? I don't know, but I don't think it will ever stop. Not until the last breath is drawn, not until the last fragment of soul is devoured. The plains will never stop feeding. I turn toward the figure, toward the man I once was, and I wonder if he will be taken, too. Will he walk into the earth, as I did, or will he resist, as I did, only to be slowly pulled into the soil, bit by bit? I want to scream at him to run, to leave before it's too late. But I can't. My voice is gone. The grass moves beneath me, brushing my legs, as though urging me forward. I take a step, then another, moving closer to the figure that was once me. And as I do, I feel something shift in the ground beneath me, something familiar. The pulse, the hunger, the call. I step forward, and as I do, I am swallowed. I am nothing now. I cannot remember when I last thought of myself as something distinct, separate, whole. The land has taken that from me, the last vestiges of my identity swallowed whole by the insatiable earth. There is no I anymore, no voice that belongs to me. There is only the whisper of the soil, the pulse of the land, the feeling of being one with the hunger that stretches endlessly beneath and above. The grass has stopped moving now. The wind has quieted. All that remains is silence. Not the kind of silence that offers peace, but the kind that fills you with an oppressive weight, a stillness so thick it suffocates. I am not dead, I realize, not in the way I once understood death. The thirsting plains do not kill. No, they erase. They do not take life, they take existence itself. I am no longer part of the world I once knew. I am part of something older, something vast and unrelenting. I am a part of the soil. I am a part of the wind. I am a part of the hunger. Feels strange, this new awareness, this state of being. I can feel the world around me, even as I no longer have a body to feel it with. I feel the grasses growing, stretching toward the horizon. I feel the earth turning beneath me, slow and endless. I hear the whispers of those who have come before me, trapped in the soil, their voices an eternal echo. They are gone, but they remain. And I will remain too. I have become the land, and the land has become me. Sometimes, in the dark places beneath the earth, I feel the memories of my own life, the laughter, the faces of those I once knew, the warmth of the sun, the coolness of water. I cling to them, but they are fleeting, dissipating like smoke in the wind. The longer I stay here, the further they fade. I do not know if I am still me, but then the hunger calls again. I am part of the hunger now. I feel it in the pulse beneath me, in the shifting of the soil, in the relentless hunger of the earth. It is always there, always waiting, always feeding. I can feel the pull, the need to stretch out, to consume, to pull more into the land, to feed the endless cycle. I am not alone, though I am no longer sure if there ever was a me to be lonely. There are others here, shadows, fragments, echoes of those who walked before me, who were consumed, as I was. Their voices rise from the earth, soft murmurs in the wind, faint whispers in the grass. They call to me as the land calls to them, and I know they feel the same hunger I do. They are part of the cycle just as I am. We all are. We were once lost, but now we are found by the land. I have become the soil, I have become the earth. And when I hear the whisper of another, desperate, lost, searching for escape, I feel it deep within me. The urge to pull them in, to show them the way. The thirsting plains are hungry, yes, but they are patient. They do not rush. They wait. And eventually the next will come. The cycle continues. The land never forgets. It remembers everything. Every step, every breath, every heartbeat. It remembers the ones who wandered, the ones who were taken, the ones who came seeking something. And it consumes them all over and over, until there is no memory left, only whispers in the wind, only echoes in the soil. I hear the voice now in the distance. Another lost soul just like me. They have wandered too long, searching for something, just as I did. They have found the thirsting plains, and soon they will be a part of it. The land has already begun to claim them. I feel it. The earth is waking. The grass is moving. The soil is stirring. The cycle will begin again. Another will come, and they will be consumed. And we will feed. The hunger will continue. The land will grow. And there will be nothing left but the echoes of those who have come before, trapped in the soil, waiting for the next. The thirsting plains never end. And neither do we.